the way the regime suppressed people, the mass arrest, the execution, and poisoning children, especially girls' schools, because girls were more active against the regime in those demonstrations. And people are very angry against the regime. And last few months, people were saying they won't vote. And you don't know how many people were arrested.
People in Iran have gone to the polls today. They've been voting for a new parliament, but turnout has been low, with several blocks of reformist politicians boycotting the election or being shut out altogether by the Guardian Council. Iran has been hit badly by international sanctions, an economic crisis, widespread hardship and violent unrest. So I've been speaking to Nasrim Parvas, who is a women's rights activist and torture survivor from Iran. Here's what she made of the significance of this election.
First of all, we have to see what news is coming out of Iran. I have seen lots of clips that shows the polling stations are empty. Even in some of the clips, you don't see one person is going to vote. But at the same time, last couple of hours, the regime is posting lots of clips on social media saying that we need more time, and they extended the time to 12 midnight for people to go and vote, because they say they couldn't see all the people who wanted to vote. And if you look at those clips, if you Google them, you'll see that they are not new. They are from past.
So why do you think they're putting out old clips? Why does this matter to them so much?
Because Beijing wants to show to the world that people still want them. But the thing is, it's people that don't want the regime. And actually, especially last 2 years, people showed that they don't want the regime with their mass demonstration and other activities which took place. And the extent of, the way the regime suppressed people, the mass arrest, the execution, and poisoning children, especially girls' schools, because girls were more active against the regime in those demonstrations. And people are very angry against the regime. And last few months, people were saying they won't vote. And you don't know how many people were arrested during last few months, especially last couple of months, because they have written on their social media that they don't want to vote. And they were arrested.
And this, of course, is the first general election since the major uprisings in 2022 and the repression and the crackdown. Exactly. How much of a test do you think this is for the Iranian administration? Because we have a vote for the Assembly of Experts, which is Iran's senior body, which elects the supreme leader, of course, the parliament as well. And at the moment, both those bodies are in the hands of conservatives.
Yeah, of course. People call them, they say it doesn't matter which faction they are. If you ask people in their slogans, they say, we don't want any of you. People say to the regime, they don't want any of factions of the regime. But one thing is very interesting, is that the regime changed the law about who can vote, how you can vote. Until now, people could vote with their birth certificate, and their birth certificate were having a stamp, so one person could not vote twice. But now they changed it, and they said people can vote with their passport, their national insurance number, or driving license. So one person could vote 4 times today. And especially because of poverty. Votes were bought and sold today. So, but regime knew that people don't want them. But it was a very good exercise for the people because for months, people were saying we shouldn't come out that Friday, 1st of March.
But if people are not going to come out, they're not going to vote, then they have no power, no control over who gets in. Well, what will happen to their concerns about the economy, the concerns about freedom, about education, about democracy? Who is going to carry that forward?
People with overthrowing the regime. They have to do that, and they know that. It's not, I'm sitting here and say that. People, if you ask people, they say they don't want this regime. And they want to have their own government, not these murderers. Raisi was the chair of the committee who decided which of prisoners have to be executed in 1988. I was in prison. They executed more than 5,000 prisoners. And Raisi comes to the U.S. and they welcome him, So people don't want this regime, but it seems the West still want them.
And that was Nasrim Parvas, a women's rights activist and torture survivor from Iran. This is Henry Bonsu on Times Radio.